Tonight, the President visits Lagos, commissions several naval ships, one locally built by naval engineers, also attends launch of autobiography of elder statesman Chief Bisi Akande. House of Representatives Committee meets chairman of INEC to discuss the direct primary option. INEC defends position on cost of primary and contends the burden rests on political parties, not the state. Military deals decisive blow on terrorist camp as troops kill 62 insurgents, 192 others surrender. And World Health Organization warns rich countries against hoarding of COVID-19 vaccines amidst fears of increasing Omicron infections. Plus international news from our London studio. On business news tonight, Group Managing Director of NNPC makes it clear that the Petroleum Industry Act will bring about fiscal stability in the oil and gas sector.
And on sports news tonight, the FIA warns Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen against driving in an unsportsmanlike manner ahead of Sunday's title deciding battle at the season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
And from Abuja, as countries in the Sahel region worry over increasing arms proliferation, Nigeria's Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons renews its commitment to making the country arms-free.
The President has commissioned and inducted 7 naval ships, including Seaward Defense Boat 3, also known as NNS-OG, built by the Nigerian Navy at the Naval Dockyard in Victoria Island. NNS-OG is the third in the series to be locally built at the Naval Dockyard Limited, solely by Navy engineers after the successes of NNS Andoni and NNS Karadua, commissioned by President Muhammadu Buhari. Speaking at the event, the President said the new inductions to the naval fleet would boost their capability in securing Nigeria's maritime domain. Our correspondent Christian Lems reports.
The Nigerian Air Force plane pulls up to the presidential wing of the Murtala Mohammed Airport, Lagos, and the President alights to a warm reception. On hand to receive him is the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, alongside members of the state and party executive. Quickly, he leaves for the Naval Dockyard on Victoria Island on board a helicopter, where he is expected to commission and induct 7 Nigerian naval ships. Meanwhile, at the Naval Dockyard, dignitaries including past and 7 military personnel are already on the ground awaiting his arrival. This signals the commencement of the day's activity. Of the 7 vessels to be inducted is a locally constructed Seaward Defense Boat SDB-3 christened NNS-OG. It's the third of its series built by the Nigerian Navy, following the successes of NNS Andoni and NNS Karadua. With 2 more in the offing, which are SDB-4 and 5, the Chief of Naval Staff, in his opening address, assures the President of the Navy's preparedness to take on the task of building and delivering the vessels on schedule.
Evidently, the experience garnered so far, the Naval Dockyard Limited is adequately poised to take on this challenge and in pursuit of the federal government of Nigeria's local content development effort.
The President takes on his assignment at the event, commissioning and inducting the 7 ships, helicopter, other gunboats, as well as laying the key for SDB-4 and 5.
And be on hand to commission it on completion of its...
In his speech, the President highlights the role of the Navy in sustaining the nation's economy through its maritime operations and hopes the added fleet will further boost their efforts.
We should note that we are in a critical period where our country is faced with a serious decline in our revenue and the security challenges we are facing. The present realities, therefore, call for prudent resource management innovativeness, accountability, and careful maintenance.
With a steady decline in piracy activities on the Gulf of Guinea, as reported by the International Maritime Organization, this induction seems like a welcome development. Chris Lemps, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the president at another function in Lagos joined other important personalities at the launch of an autobiography of elder statesman Chief Bisi Akande. President Buhari applauded the antecedents of the former Osun State governor in the Fourth Republic and All Progressives Congress chieftain, saying he is the type he will go into the jungle with. He lauded the role of Chief Akande as a bridge builder, a fence mender, and one of the major actors in the rise of the APC to power in 2015. Our correspondent Olumide Macaulay reports.
President of Nigeria.
For those who may have doubted the participation of the president in this book launch, they must have been pleasantly surprised. He didn't just show up. He showed off his admiration for Chief Bisi Akande's achievements.
There is a famous Hausa saying, I quote, Labarin zuciya a tambayi fuska. Loosely translated, it means, if you want to know what is in a man's heart, watch his face. Akande has a permanent smile on his face. He is the type I will go into the jungle with. This book is a historical document. Students will find this an invaluable source of Nigeria's politics, notably between 1999 and 2020.
That sentiment is echoed by the national leader of the APC, Senator Bola Tinubu.
Every now and then, we come across a person so exemplary and excellent that one word seems to fit only. Is a hero. The word hero. Here today, we have a man whose that word fit perfectly.
And for the man of the moment, he digresses to turn his attention to the president.
And we want Nigeria to be united. We want Nigeria to be peaceful. We want Nigeria to be prosperous. You have a lot of job to do. It's not yours alone, but because you are our leader, we abuse you for everything that is wrong. Even though when we know we are not honest ourselves, we know we are fraudulent, we know we are deceitful, we know we are cheaters. And all the results of all the things we are doing wrong, we blame on you. I don't sympathize with you. You apply for the job, and you have the job. May your tenure be prosperous. May Nigeria be greater in your time. May Nigeria be united. May Nigeria be peaceful.
The formal presentation of the book, entitled My Participation, an autobiography of Chief Bisi Akande, takes place, witnessed by many governors and other eminent personalities.
Thank you very much.
It has come perhaps as a silver lining in the cloud of the challenges of the day and the pandemic, a look away from those issues to a meeting of political heavyweights, past and present. Reporting from Lagos, Olumide Macaulay, Channels Television News.
And from the book launch in Lagos to politics, where INEC has defended its role on the cost of primary, as it insists that only political parties have the responsibility on primaries and the funding. This is coming on the heels of the controversy over who would bear the cost of direct primaries, which may have now been put to rest. INEC's position was made known today by the chairman of the House Committee on Appropriations, Aliyu Betara, after a closed-door meeting between the lawmakers and the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, at the National Assembly.
In our discussion with the INEC chairman, it was on two discussions. One, his requirement for 2023 election. Secondly, on direct or indirect primaries. And on the direct or indirect primaries, in his In what we discussed with him, he specifically told us the role of INEC in direct or indirect primaries is just minimal. Everything relies on all political parties. Party primaries are roles of political parties, not INEC. That's what we discussed with him. For direct primaries, as what INEC chairman told us, is only political parties has responsibility on primaries. Funding on primaries are for political parties, not INEC.
Thank you. Honorable sir, how would you feel if the president eventually rejects it as reported today in the paper?
We don't know whether he rejected or he signed the bill.
Staying with politics, youth involvement in politics forms a major topic of discourse at different fora across the country. It also came to the fore at the Yaga Convergence 3.0 today in Lagos, where various speakers agreed that leadership comes with a lot of responsibilities and it's important that youths get involved now. The panel discussion had participants drawn from the private and public sectors who share their experiences to motivate young people to throw their hat in the ring.
Public opinion on governance and its effects on citizens is fast becoming a popular topic of discussion among youths in Nigeria. For this reason, plenary at the Convergence 3.0 focuses on public leadership, politics with a difference.
The context of Nigeria requires effort.
This formed a point of discussion that brings young Nigerians in politics and public officers together to speak on the challenges and progress for youths in national governance.
Please join me to welcome for special remarks the High Commissioner, British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Her Excellency Catriona Leong.
For the international community, the gradual increase of youth participation in the political landscape is a welcome development.
Fundamentally, it needs people to register to vote. And that's been reasonably encouraging. I'm tracking the progress, and the youth is registering quite well, but we need to really up the ante. And one of the reasons they'll register to vote is they see people like themselves standing for election. So you need to not just register, but also encourage others to register and, of course, stand yourselves.
Giving a first-hand experience, the Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly shares his opinion on the journey so far.
So if we all work together to ensure that whatever political party that we belong to is the best, then I can guarantee you that that's a bright future for the country. I contested for election twice. As of today, I am 34 years old. My first foray into politics was when I was 31. And it came through a by-election, which I won. And then this was 2018, and then 2019 I had to recontest again. So I had 1 year to prove to my people that I was capable and competent for the role, and I had the capacity for the role. As of 2019, we contested, and then I became a ranking member in a political party that had the most amount of honorable members.
The plenary, which had young private investors, public office holders in the executive and legislature arms of government, highlights some happenings after the last election in 2019.
Oh, please know today, you're starting off with people not trusting you. And so your journey is almost having to prove yourselves. The sins of the fathers have become those of the children. And so what I would say, please close the gap.
I've had a new perspective, a new lens about the importance of participation, the importance of being in the room, of being counted. Especially in this moment where you see a lot of youth are taking the stance that the right way to protest is to stay away from politics and to stay away from leadership.
Matter to people.
It's expected that with more enlightening sessions like this one, youth involvement in political activities on all levels will begin to receive more attention among the growing population.
In part two, after the break, Ekiti State Governor restates call for restructuring of the country, plus Katsina State Commissioner for Science and Technology, Dr. Rabi Nasir, killed in his home by gunmen. State Police Command says one person arrested in connection with the crime. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder about top stories. The President visits Lagos, commissions 7 naval ships, 1 locally built by naval engineers. Also attends launch of autobiography of elder statesman Chief Bisi Akande. House of Representatives Committee meets chairman of INEC over the direct primary option. INEC defends position on cost of primary, contends the burden rests on political parties, not the state. Military deals decisive blow on terrorist camps as troops kill 62 insurgents, 192 others surrender. And World Health Organization warns rich countries against hoarding of COVID-19 vaccines amidst fears of increasing Omicron infections. We continue in politics. Restructure Nigeria through a national dialogue before it becomes too late. These are the words of Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State, who is calling for the embracing of political solution to reposition the country. He stated this in his lecture at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs as part of events marking the 60th anniversary of the NIIA. Our correspondent Laya Diguke tells us more.
Conversations continue about building up Nigeria and restoring its frontline leadership role on the African continent.
Whether one agrees with this external judgment or
experts gather at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs NIIA for a lecture by the governor of Ekiti State as part of the institute's 60th anniversary.
Fixing Nigeria so we can have not just a better country but also a better world. And I think this is a nexus that all people who know about international affairs would acknowledge. The point that you cannot be who you are externally without fixing yourself internally.
The issue of restructuring is again brought to the fore by Governor Kayode Fayemi, who is the keynote speaker.
I've highlighted the importance of political restructuring through a national dialogue process, and this has to happen before it is too late. The discontent and agitation that are being felt in parts of the country are symptomatic of structural challenges that can be discussed and amicably agreed upon when all constituent units of the Federation come together.
As part of efforts in fixing Nigeria for a better world, which is the crux of his lecture, Governor Fayemi also proffers some solutions.
We need to undertake concerted efforts towards revamping structures and instruments of our foreign policy. Here I refer to modernizing and adequately funding the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs, our missions abroad, ensuring that our most gifted hands are recruited into our foreign service and related institutions will only result in a better informed policy machinery.
One of the highlights at the ceremony is the Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs conferring Governor Fayemi as a Fellow of the NIIA. This lecture brings to an end the series of events the NIIA put together in marking its Diamond Jubilee anniversary, having been in existence since 1961 as Nigeria's foremost international affairs research center with the responsibility of boosting the nation's foreign policy. Layo Adegoke, Channels Television News.
And to Rivers State, where the governor Nyesom Wike says he is prepared to face an expected political war when he leaves office, following his stance against certain decisions in the country. Governor Wike stated this during the commissioning of a dualized Rumola flyover in Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State. He challenged the federal government to show proof of the monies borrowed by the present administration, saying that he is not afraid of any probe by the anti-graft agencies because his projects are verifiable.
The Rivers State government is back on the road to resume a series of projects inauguration, and the former governor of Ondo State, Olusegun Mimiko, in company of his host, Governor Nyesom Wike, is in the state to commission the expanded Rumola flyover. The 530 meters Rumala flyover, now remodeled into a dual carriage overhead with street lights and traffic control features, is the fourth among 9 flyover projects to be completed by the Wike administration. The special guest of honor says the project symbolizes what the Nigerian state stands to benefit if the right policies are implemented.
You have deployed your limitless energy by this accomplishment to demonstrate that governance is a means to an end. And that end, unarguably, unequivocally, is improvement in the lives of the people. And improvement in the lives of the people is at the core of the call for a restructured Nigeria. In necessity, we both have a common belief in.
For Governor Wike, his promise to deliver necessary infrastructure is unwavering, and he can show proof of his stewardship.
For you to achieve development, there are things as citizens you must also contribute. Part of the contribution is for you to have a temporary hardship. And today, all those hardships are over. Let everybody, let the LCC, let everybody come and probe whether these contracts are real or not. Rivers people are saying it. Where's your money? I can say, go to Mola Flyover. Where's your money? I can say, go to German Flyover. Where's your money? I can say, go to Abadi Flyover. Where's your money? I can say, go to Remington Flyover. Where's your money? I can say, go to Colorado Flyover. Where's your money? I can say, go to Rumaba Flyover. Where's your money? I can say, Africa Flyover. Where's your money? I can say, Colorado Flyover. Let them come and tell me where they take the money of the United before.
Former Governor Mimiko then commissions the project. The commissioning of the Rumala flyover along the Port Harcourt Expressway will no doubt bring ease to commuters and motorists in the city.
And back in Lagos, the state government says it will no longer go ahead with the planned peace walk following the rise in cases of the Omicron variant of COVID-19. This was made known in a statement by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, which reads in part, "Between Tuesday 30th November 2021 that I made my address and now, we have seen a significant rise in cases associated with the Omicron variant of this pandemic. Given this development, I am constrained to stand down all preparations for the walk for peace." The governor expressed gratitude to everyone who showed solidarity with the government to build a peaceful state. Governor Sanwo-Olu had expressed his desire to lead a walk for peace following the outcome of the work of the Judicial Panel on restitution for victims of SARS-related abuses and other related matters. And we're off to Abuja now for some more stories. Here's Gloria Umezuke. Hi, Gloria.
Hello, Millicent. Good to see you. We turn our attention to security matters. In its sustained efforts against insurgency, the military says troops have killed 62 terrorists in the northeast, while 192 others and their families have surrendered to the federal government. The acting director, Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Onyuko, told a news conference in Abuja about the military's activities within the last 2 weeks, stressing that the suspected terrorists were properly profiled and handed over to appropriate authorities for necessary actions. General Onyuko further adds that within the period, troops of Operation Safe Haven in the northwest raided hideouts of criminal elements and repelled kidnappers at different locations across the region, which resulted to the arrest of 43 armed bandits and their collaborators, as well as drug peddlers. Meanwhile, in Katsina State, the Commissioner for Science and Technology, Dr. Rabi Nasir, has been killed by gunmen. The State Police Command says Dr. Nasir was killed in his residence located at the government reservation area in the Katsina State capital, adding that one person has been arrested in connection with the crime. The killing is coming after the state government announced the lifting of the ban on mobile telecommunications network service in some local government areas. The special advisor to the governor on security matters, Mr. Ibrahim Katsina, announced this, stating that relative peace is being witnessed in the affected councils, but appealed that the reopening of the networks should not be taken for granted. Staying with security, Nigeria bears the brunt of the instability in the Sahel region and the push and pull effects of arms trafficking since the start of the Libyan civil war. But this is according to the Nigeria Center for Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, which says it is committed to making the country an arms-free society. The national coordinator of the center, Major General Abba Diko, stated this at a stakeholders round-table discussion in Abuja. Our correspondent, Kayla Megwa, reports.
Thank you so much. Please.
This is the first in a series of engagements from the newly formed National Center for the Control of Light Arms and Small Weapons, housed in the Office of the National Security Advisor, to tackle the proliferation of arms in Nigeria, a problem which the National Peace Committee states has directly caused the death of 80,000 people between April of 2020 and April of 2021.
Nigeria has borne the brunt of the instability in the Sahel region and the push and pull effect of arms trafficking since the start of the Libyan civil war. Consequently, Nigeria, in concert with its neighbors, ECOWAS and other international stakeholders over the years has canvassed for the total eradication of illicit small arms and light weapons in the possession of unauthorized persons.
Some of the collaborators present at this discussion talk about the areas where their promised interventions will be felt in tackling the menace.
The center is committed to invest resources in understanding what is the actual impact on these communities. This will help us to design a proper response.
I am happy to say that Sweden proudly supports the Mines Advisory Group, as stated already today, for its work on small arms and light weapons in Nigeria, with 4 million Swedish kronor for 2021.
And for countries like Nigeria, for companies in Europe, I think the level of violence is also deterring investment that are much needed in Nigeria and in the region.
Illegal arms trade is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and the major players are cut from some of the most dangerous people on the planet. Experts posit that as long as poverty and insecurity exist, they will be fueled by the illegal arms business. This roundtable discussion from the Office of the National Security Advisor is supposed to come up with lasting solutions to the problem of proliferation of small arms and light weapons in the country. As of February of this year, it was recorded that there are over 6 million of these arms in circulation. Nigeria is still dealing with ethnic conflict and also having to deal with porous borders. This particular conversation is supposed to come up with a lasting solution to this problem. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
When the News at 10 returns, Group Managing Director of the NNPC speaks at the Global Petroleum Conference, says that the Nigeria Petroleum Industry Act will bring about fiscal stability in the oil and gas sector. That's some business news. You join us again.
Welcome back to Lagos. One of the world's leading biopharmaceutical companies, Pfizer, is bridging the affordability gap in the healthcare delivery system globally. The country manager and cluster lead for West Africa, Olayinka Suber, in a statement today says Pfizer is applying its science and global resources to bringing therapies to patients in a way that extends and significantly improves their lives. This is with emphasis on standard for quality, safety and value in the discovery, development and manufacture of healthcare products, including but not limited to innovative medicines and vaccines. Mr. Suber adds that consistent with its responsibility as one of the world's premier innovative biopharmaceutical companies, Pfizer collaborates with healthcare providers, governments and local communities to support and expand access to reliable, affordable healthcare around the world, working to make a difference for all who rely on the company. Guided by the 3 pillars of innovation, investing and safeguarding, Pfizer explains that it focuses on serving the communities in which it lives and works by broadening access to medicines and strengthening healthcare delivery for the people who need it most. And Boer Group has aggregated its food products division into Boer Foods plc and commenced the process of listing by introduction on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The chairman of Boer Group, Abdul Samad Rabiu, said this shortly after the formal launch of the new company. He explains that the company is in the process of acquiring 2 vessels that will serve the company as it begins its export activities.
About 30 years of business activities in Nigeria's food sector, spanning first importation, then production and processing of sugar, rice, edible oil, flour and pasta, Boer Group at this meeting is now consolidating all the business components into Boer Food plc.
This, we believe, will enable us to be nimbler and more responsive to the food needs of the population as we continue to build a sustainable business.
Ladies and gentlemen, we officially present to you Boer Foods logo.
Then the unveiling of a new logo.
A proudly Nigerian business with international footprints. We are proud to say that the Boer brands are fully entrenched in the various sectors of our national economy and promoting national development.
Boer's current capacity for flour and pasta is at 850,000 metric tons and 250,000 metric tons. The company aims to add new lines in its Port Harcourt factory in River State, which will raise the bar to 1.4 million metric tons of flour milling and 500,000 metric tons of pasta from next year. This is all to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
For us, it's so important because with this sugar refinery in Port Harcourt, we'll be able to go to any of the countries, any of these countries within the AFCFTA area. Hence the reason why we decided to actually, procure 2 vessels.
In sugar manufacturing, the company says it's strategic about its factory and refinery being co-located.
Boer Sugar is the only plantation in Nigeria today that has a refinery and a plantation, meaning that we are the only ones that can actually produce 45 grams of sugar. Boer Foods is probably going to be the most profitable business as far as food businesses in Nigeria is concerned.
Yes, congratulations, thank you very much.
With this consolidation and future plans, Boer Food plc is confident it will maintain its market leadership in the agribusiness and food processing sector.
And to some more company news, the 300 beneficiaries of the last batch of Hirolaga Igbaboy apprenticeship scheme have graduated. At the ceremony in Lagos, some of the graduates received their checks of as much as 500,000 naira each. Hirolaga has promised that the intervention will be a regular one, aimed at being a part of the beginning of the apprentices and also combating unemployment in Nigeria.
Described by some consumers as the bear of the East, Hirolaga bear prides itself as a part of Igbo culture. It promises to support every part of it, just as it's doing with the Igbaboy apprenticeship system.
Working in partnership with the Onitsha Business School, we've exposed them to mentors, with our influencers and different business leaders, and working with all those people, we've now selected this 300 to get this seed capital today. This 50 million naira is being allocated across the different Igbaboys, and we have the biggest rewarders getting as much as 500,000 naira each.
In this hall are some of the graduates who distinguished themselves both in character and trainings at their respective trades.
All the businesses that start up with, that are started up by these apprentices who went through the system go on to become very big business empires. And that is why the legacy has been sustained for decades now. And Hirolaga would want to continue promoting it and supporting the system.
Management of the company says this is their way of being part of the beginning of the graduating trainees and contributing to combat unemployment in Nigeria, which at the last check stands at 33.3%.
These 300 people will have impact on at least 2,000 to 5,000 people. That would also have impact on another 5,000 people, and that's how the system works. It just keeps developing over the years and bringing new millionaires into the society, which we really need. Millionaires the right way.
Aside from the grants, beneficiaries also get mentorship, business registration with CAC, business account opening, and more.
My master's will be settling me this period, this December, as we're traveling. So with this 500,000, I'll be able to establish myself, put in with the one it gives to me, and with the mentorship I got from the program, it will go along for me, and I appreciate it.
Some of the companies will actually look at the already made individuals, like the celebrities, and try to bring them together and still promote them more. But heroes are gone down the grassroots to, promote people like us.
They didn't come to say they are organizing beauty pageant and all that. They chose a culture of the people, and a culture that people are not looking at. They decided to project it and promote it.
The brand concludes that this is just the beginning, insisting it is one that has come to stay. The management promises to do more to drive the narrative that trained apprentices are also educated.
And for some more business news, here's Anne Waldo.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Millicent. As the world continues to push the agenda for a sustainable energy transition and security, the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Malam Melekiari, says the national oil company is focused on building more partnerships, which he has described as key aspect of the oil and gas operating model. The NNPC boss, who was speaking at the 23rd World Petroleum Congress in Houston, Texas, pitched the new Petroleum Act recently passed in Nigeria as the country's renewed commitment to attracting investment in the sector. The act, according to him, provides the needed improvements in fiscal and governance frameworks, emphasizes transparency and accountability, which is key requirements for partnerships with that engender growth. And still at the World Petroleum Congress, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, says investments worth $11.8 trillion will be required between 2021 and 2045 in the upstream, midstream, and downstream sectors. According to OPEC Secretary General Mohammed Barkindo, the return of investments is to bring about balance and stability to the market since the outbreak of the pandemic in early 2020. Mr. Barkindo explains that if the necessary investments are not made, it could have long-term implications, especially for security of supply. The Executive Director of the Nigeria Export Promotion Council, Dr. Ezra Kasak, is confident that its policy for the creation of export warehouses across the country border communities remains key in curbing informal trade. At a meeting with the Deputy Governor of Katsina State in Abuja, he explained that when completed, the project will improve foreign exchange earnings, create jobs, and reduce poverty. On his part, the Deputy Governor of Katsina State, Maniri Yakubu, commended the agency for its efforts in facilitating access to its export expansion facility. Well, let's head to the market now. It reversed gains in today's session as the color was red today. It fell by almost 2%. Eni John Mekwa has the details.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the stock market report. That's right, the bear is back, cutting short the return of the all-share index to the 42,000 level. And of course, the market cap is back to the 21 trillion naira mark. The 210 billion naira gained yesterday has been shaved off. And this started at intraday when Dangote Cement lost 10% from its share price. At the close of trade, the share price was down 28 naira less. Wow. And by calculation, total market cap today lost 392 billion naira. However, the banking sector is bouncing back as we see FBN Holding, which has been topping trade for some days now, gained 20 kobo. That's double of what it lost yesterday. Zenith Bank did much better. It had 55 kobo gain. Looking at the activity charts now, volume and value were in the red, while deals were slightly higher than yesterday. Well, we'll not lose hope. It could be better tomorrow. That's a stock market report. I'm Eni John Mekwa.
Thank you, Ini. Well, let's take a look at closing numbers for other major markets around the world. And that's Business News Tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. It's back to you, Millicent.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Many thanks, Anne. Now, the World Health Organization says it remains unclear whether additional COVID-19 vaccine doses are needed to protect against the Omicron variant and urges wealthy countries to avoid hoarding the jabs. The health agency's vaccine advisors warn that a rush to stockpile more jabs would only exacerbate the already glaring inequitable vaccine access around the globe. For more international news, here's Simon Pusey in our London studio with Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The World Food Programme has suspended distribution of food aid in 2 northern Ethiopian towns after gunmen looted its warehouses. Northern Ethiopia is facing mass starvation amid an ongoing civil war between Tigrayan and government forces. After more than a year of fighting, more than 9 million people are in need of critical food supplies in Tigray. The United Nations said fighters from rebel Tigrayan forces held aid staff at gunpoint in the town of Kombolcha and stole large quantities of essential food and supplies, including some for malnourished children. South Africa has seen a 255% increase in infections in the past 7 days, but only 6% of intensive care beds are occupied by COVID-19 patients. The Omicron coronavirus variant is driving a 4th wave of COVID-19 infections in the country, and the WHO say Africa accounts for 46% of reported cases of the variant globally. However, South African doctors and researchers believe the variant only causes mild symptoms. China has warned countries who have announced a diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Winter Olympics that they will pay the price for their mistaken acts. China's foreign ministry spokesperson said the US, Canada, the UK and Australia would face a loss of moral authority and credibility by politicizing sport. It comes as the Winter Olympic flame was displayed at Beijing University. The Games will be held from the 4th of February next year. Indian farmers have called off a long-running protest after the government conceded a number of demands, including assurances to consider guaranteed prices for all produce instead of just rice and wheat. These protests were sparked by new and controversial agricultural laws which deregulated the sector, and opponents feared made farmers vulnerable to big business. Farmers had continued to press for other demands, such as the guaranteed prices, as well as for legal action against protesters to be dropped. Leaders now say they'll meet in January to review progress on the government's assurances. Meanwhile, the bodies of India's defence chief and 12 others who died in a helicopter crash have been brought to New Delhi, where the top general will be laid to rest with full military honours. General Bipin Rawat, his wife and 12 defence personnel were en route to a military staff college in southern India when the aircraft they were travelling in crashed. Only one of the 14 on board survived. Meanwhile, officials have recovered the black box from the site of the crash. The Air Force Mi-17 V5 helicopter came down near the town of Coonoor on Wednesday. One of this year's 2 Nobel Peace Prize winners says she hopes the award shines a spotlight on dangers journalists face all over the world.
How much more difficult?
At a press conference ahead of the prize ceremony tomorrow, Maria Ressa said lies circulated on social media containing anger and hate often spread faster and further than facts.
We do hope that when
She and Russian journalist Dmitry Muratov shared this year's award for defending press freedom. Scotland's last remaining coal-fired power station has been brought down in a controlled explosion. Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon pushed the button to detonate the explosives and bring the iconic 600-foot chimney at Longannet power station tumbling down. The power station had ceased operations in 2016. A woman has been arrested after a police chase over a golf course in Florida. Video shared by the Indian River County Sheriff Office showed the woman driving over fairways on the Grand Harbor course in Florida. The chase eventually ends when her vehicle is rammed by a police SUV. The woman now faces several charges. And finally, a Swedish company has built what it says is the first commercially available personal electric aerial vehicle and hopes that in the future it will be able to replace traditional cars. The Jetson 1 is a vertical takeoff and landing vehicle for one person that the company says takes 5 minutes to learn how to fly. The 8-engine flying car sells for $92,000 and can reach a top speed of 102 kilometers an hour. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
Now that's something. Thanks, Simon. Now for some sports news, here's Chris Illems.
Welcome to Sports News. With 30 days to the African Cup of Nations holding in Cameroon, Super Eagles midfielder Moses Simon remains confident of the chances of the three-time African champions. The Super Eagles will play alongside the Pharaohs of Egypt, Sudan and Guinea-Bissau in the group phase. And Simon has played down talks it's going to be an easy ride for the team.
Of course, some will say it's easy group. But I think in Africa, there is no easy group. Now every team is stronger, wiser. Everybody knows football now. Most especially even I would not call it small country, but some countries, they have a foreign coach. So I believe there is no small group, but all I know is we are going to qualify in that group.
Formula One race director Michael Masi has warned drivers could face suspension or lose all their points for driving in an unsportsmanlike manner ahead of Sunday's title-deciding battle at the season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton and his Red Bull rival Max Verstappen head into the floodlit finale at the Yas Marina track level on points, but Verstappen ahead 9-8 on wins, which could make him champion if both fail to score. The pair have collided 3 times this season, including at the last race in Saudi Arabia, raising concerns about a thrilling season ending with a collision. Arnaud Danjuma struck twice as Villarreal won 3-2 away to Atalanta earlier today in a match rearranged after heavy snowfall to clinch the final spot in the Champions League last 16. The Dutch international put Atalanta ahead inside 3 minutes, and Etienne Capoue doubled the lead shortly before halftime on another chilly evening in Bergamo. Danjuma scored again early in the second half, but Villarreal were forced to hold on as Atalanta responded with goals from Ruslan Malinowski and Duvan Zapata while hitting the woodwork 3 times. Bayern Munich utility man Joshua Kimmich has been ruled out until the new year after suffering a lung problem as a result of COVID-19. The 26-year-old, who admitted he had not been vaccinated against the virus in October, tested positive last month. His quarantine period ended on Wednesday. That'll be all on sports. Back to you, Millicent.
Thank you, Chris. And on a programming note, our exclusive interview with the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Catriona Ling, on the UK government's decision to place Nigeria on its travel red list, as well as the principle of reciprocity, among other diplomatic issues, airs tomorrow, 2 p.m, in place of News Track, and a repeat edition by 11 p.m. That's after our flagship news at 10. It's only on Channels Television. And the main news again. Today, the president visited Lagos State, commissioned 7 naval ships, 1 locally built by naval engineers, also attended launch of autobiography of elder statesman Chief Bisi Akande. Also today, House of Representatives Committee meet with chairman of INEC, discuss direct primary option. INEC defended position on cost of primary, said burden rested on political parties, not the state. And the World Health Organization warned rich countries against hoarding of COVID-19 vaccines amidst fears of increasing Omicron infections. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Minister Walker. Have a good night and stay safe.